I hate this technology. This Streamlabs did an update, and it's doing my head in. It wasn't even smart enough to know that I had built-in camera on my phone. It said I had to manually select it. So I've been beating my head against the phone basically for the past half an hour trying to figure it out, and it was a black screen. I mean, they could at least presented me with a default camera and then asked me if I wanted to change it or something, but no, it was just um, completely blank. So anyway, I'm just testing at the moment. Oh, at least the mic's working. Right. So, right. I wanted to do a video about this, and this friggin' update thing came up yesterday. I've turned the updates off actually, but I thought, oh, maybe I need to update um the Streamlabs, and I wish I hadn't, because I tell you, I don't like all this widget stuff. I really don't want all that farting about. I'm getting too old to learn all this new stuff. You can't teach an old dog new tricks, as they say. So I'm trying to get the reflection off here. Right. So basically, I wanted to do this update. I started to wind some new coils for my generator because right. Let me just got my coil winder here. You can see it under the magnifying glass. It's a bit dusty, sorry about that. Actually probably works better without the magnifying glass on this camera. But yeah, I started winding some new bobbins, some new coils, and the wire's the thick stuff, so it doesn't go through the eye of the needle, so I just put it to one side basically. So what I wanted to do was to get more current out, and yeah. So I wound this one yesterday, and I got too much wire on it, and I put it in the holder for now, and I had to unwrap one turn. That's why it looks got that white stuff underneath, because I was putting the white stuff in between each layer of wire. I had a bit too much wire on there, and it wouldn't fit in the holder, so I had to take one layer off. I won't do that next time. I'll figure it out. But even before I've got these new coils wound, and that's another bobbin which I've not prepared yet. Even before I've done these, I had a little bit of a problem earlier today. My triac, I think I blew a triac. It's on a heatsink. I think I did. I'm not sure, but there was a problem because I've got all these little thin wires floating about. They're very thin wires, and one of them snapped off, and so I had to go and solder another wire on. And then after I'd done that, well, actually, sorry, I'm getting this in the wrong order. No, first thing today, I noticed a problem with my I was having a problem with, there was some kind of a mysterious short circuit. I thought, what the hell's wrong? I haven't touched it since yesterday. It was working fine yesterday. And now when I switched it on, there was like a heavy load on it, but there wasn't a load. And I was only seeing about, what, 90 milliamps or something on the meter. And I was scratching my head trying to figure out what's going on. And guess what it was? It was an earth loop. Yeah, the oscilloscope is grounded, right? So when I clip the ground lead for the oscilloscope on one of my coils here, it grounds the generator to the ground on the mains, right? What, you follow me so far? Well, I had an oversight because I had something plugged in I had a USB plugged in to my USB thing which goes to the battery, which I was charging, which is my solar battery, and that's my 3D printer, and it was grounded as well, so I had a short circuit through the ground. So that's what you call an earth loop. So I spent about 3 hours trying to figure out what the hell was wrong with this. So I redid all my full wave bridge rectifiers. These are all just full wave rectifiers. I'm actually only using I'm using 2 of them. I'm using this one at this end, and I'm using that one at that end, and the power emerges and comes out on this red and black wire here, which is DC after it's been rectified. Then it goes down these wires, this red and yellow wire down here, and it goes onto my little, well, actually it goes onto this board, but then it goes across this grey wire to charge my solar battery. So anyway, I just thought about fixing that because one of these little legs on the capacitors, the filter capacitors, came off the board, and I cleaned it all that up and I redid that, and all this because of a ground loop. It all started because of that, because I had a problem and I didn't know where it was, and I was fixing that. And then because I was fiddling around with it so much, wire started falling off. That's what happens. So basically, my little wires that I had stuck in here, the tiny little wires here, they started breaking off, not this end, but where they attached to the coils. So then I had to pull my coils out, resolder the wires onto my coils, which is another pain in the butt. And anyway, and now yesterday I was thinking about this push-pull system, right, where I went to along with the pull method. I thought, well, the balance coil, the one that helps to negate some of the drag, I decided to go with the pull method, which is pulling on the rotor as it passes. Now, because I was doing that, my delay line needs to be a lot bigger, a lot longer, because there's a big gap between the generator coil up here, which is in the middle, and down here where the coil was, here, there's a big gap, which means I need a big delay line, which is why I built that one, this big thing here. So anyway, and then last night I went to bed, now I was laid down, I was thinking, hang on a minute, when I'm pulling on, if I'm pulling on the magnet instead of pushing on it, that means I'm subtracting power from my output. I think I was thinking. So if I'm subtracting power, then I'm losing power, aren't I? Anyway, I was thinking I was subtracting. I'm not so sure now, because I'm thinking, hang on a minute, the coil doesn't know if it's subtracting or adding, really. All it knows is that there's a load. It doesn't matter which way around it is. And I'm thinking, that's what so anyway, today I thought, well, I'm going to go back to push mode, because when it's pushing, it pushes power back, but in both directions, and I'm thinking, yeah. So I did that. So I've gone back to the push mode instead of pull mode. Anyway, after fighting about for like, it must be, well, basically 18 hours, really. Today, 18 hours of messing about and not getting any more of my flipping coil wound, which is what I started doing yesterday. I have now got this, before I've even wound the new coils, I've got this twice the output, which is good. So anyway, let's see what's happening. So if I kept my negative wire on this battery, I've been running it earlier, so it might die on us. So anyway, it might not last long, but I might as well use the juice that's in there for now. Right, and I have got a bit of a cogging issue at the moment, because I've been experimenting with extra magnets on here and all this, so I need to sort that out as well. Oh, it started itself. Oh, the other thing was belt slipping. I had some problems with belt slipping. Now look at that, we're climbing up to 300 milliamps into 5.29 volts DC, 310 milliamps. And this is my waveform. Right, so the voltage is basically RMS, a cyclic RMS of 8 volts, because we're into a load. The load basically is the 5.52 volts, and that's why we're getting a cyclic RMS of 8 volts at the moment, because it's under load. And the blue is the center tapped coil of my drag cancellation, and that's the RPM right now. Right, so the blue is the exit coils, the junction between the two, which is the center tap, and that's the waveform right now. And you can see the voltage on that one is peak to peak in the middle of the coil, so it will be probably 42 actually, because I'm in the center tap, so it'll probably be 42 across there, something like that. But I don't know. Anyway, so I can't put another jumper lead on it because it's in series, and I'd have another ground loop problem, so I can't be creating another problem. So that's the output. We're under load. We're at 5,500, and the current at the moment output is 320 milliamps into 5.93 volts DC supercapacitors charging. And my voltage, I'm driving this drive motor on the belt, is at 13.8 volts, and the current into the motor is 1.26 amps. That's 1,260 milliamps basically. So that's 1.26 amps. So so that's where we are with that at the moment. And I've had some issues with my LED as well. My yellow LED has been acting weird. I think I've blown it. I think I need to put a new one in. It's not lighting up. It flickers a bit. I think I've overloaded my yellow LED. So I'll probably have to sort that one out as well. Right, so that's the current over there. You can still see it, hopefully. On the voltage, it's climbing quite fast now. And the RPM over there. I'm getting feedback on the monitor. So yes, we are making progress, but it's a little bit slow because I was an idiot earlier today, because I'd left the printer plugged into the USB, causing a ground loop short, and all sorts of strange things were going on, and yeah. So, move the ashtray out of the way. Bloody messy it looks. So there's my board at the moment. I'm designing a new circuit board right now. What I plan to do is measure all the inductances, because I've got this set up pretty good now. Measure the inductances between all of these and write down the millihenries, and make just one inductor preset to that millihenry, instead of fighting about adjusting it all the time, because most of the adjustment is done by the timing on the trimmer to set the trigger point for the triac. Ouch! My triac's bloody hot. Yeah, it is hot. How hot is that? Well, it's rated at 800 milliamps is my triac, so How hot is my triac? I don't know if I can get a good, let's see. Well, my temperature thing says it's 41, but it's probably twice that because I can't get enough of it. It's a tiny little device and I can't get enough of it in this window. You need to fill that window to get a good reading, but it says it's 40 Celsius, 41 Celsius. Well, it's dropped when I let go then. .42 Celsius. It's probably a bit hotter than that. It keeps moving when I let go. There. Well, it's 40 anyway. So the triac's getting toasty. So I need to put that heat sink that's on the other triac onto that triac, because I took this one out because I went and I think I damaged it. I'm not sure. I'll test it later. I was going to test it in my breadboard, see if it's damaged or not. It might not be. It might be that the earth loop was just the problem. The ground loop might have been all that was wrong. So the triac, that one might be okay still. RPM at the moment. So 300 milliamps still at 7.49 volts and climbing. So I would say that's about 3 times the amount of power I was getting previously. The previous amount of power was about 110, 120 milliamps at about this voltage on the output side. And mind you, I am consuming a bit more on the input, so don't forget I've still got to overcome this drag more effectively. So there's little design tweaks, and those design tweaks are to do with magnets which go in the side of the actuation coil, which you can't see here, but there's a hole. Basically there's a hole there. Let's see if I can show you with this. Where's my file? Where's my file gone? Hang on, I've put it away, Anna. Right, if I get my file out of here. Right, there's these slots that go in the side of here. I've got the round one. Shoot! I want the square one. Hang on. I'll go through my files here. Something's getting warm. It's my triac, I think. Well, when I ordered them before, I had about 20 of them, so I've got plenty more. I've got the square one now, I think. Yeah. Right. There's a slot that goes all the way through here and out the other side. Look. You can probably just see it coming out there. And this slot is where I can put magnets in. For fine tuning. And it makes a difference, it does. It actually improves when I put my magnets in the slot there. There's actually some in there. I don't know if you can see. Right there. Next to the exit coil, which is in there. Now, I designed some new. I don't clean them up, they just come off the printer literally just now as I'm picking them up. I've got the stuff to clean off, but the new ones are going to have slots close to the coil as well. That's to put some steel or magnets to help to counteract the drag effects, and the magnets will, or the steel will just go in these holes like that, and they're the right length as well. So the magnets are there to create a balanced system, because when there's a counterbalance effect of drag, you can correct it to a certain degree by using static magnets, which tend to want to balance themselves out anyway. So if you have an imbalance, the magnets themselves will try to correct that imbalance. That is the reason, that's why we're using concentrics in here, like these. And we put our toroids in the middle, like that. So anyway, those are the ones with the 4 poles. These are the ones with the 8 poles. There's actually 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I think there's 8 on there. And they're the smaller ones. Anyway, so these have just come off a printer. I've got to clean these up and file them and shine them up and whatever. And then I've got to put these. These are the bobbin holders, like this thing here. But this one's got end bit pieces on. This one doesn't. And these basically slide into my slots, which is what you see in there. Side of it. So these hold up the round bobbins and the rectangular bobbins and keep the distances equal, so that when I'm adjusting my timing, the bobbins aren't going to get knocked out of adjustment simply by moving it, because they're going to be in a preset space. So when I adjust my timing on the delay line and everything, because the bobbins are set at a certain distance from the round bobbins, my settings aren't going to keep changing all the time. That is the point of using something like this, like a jig to hold everything together. Oh look, my current's gone down, look, on the input. But what's the output? 280 milliamps into 9 volts. So output 280 milliamps into 9 volts, and my current has dropped on the input to 1.7, what is it? 1170 milliamps, I think that is. Yeah. And voltage is 13.81. Yeah, so that's the current at the moment. And it's also RPM. Yeah, earlier today I also had some problems with the belt slipping, the drive belt. What happened was I put some grease on the bearings on the take-up pulley there that takes up the slack on the belt. Some of the grease was leaking out through the 3D printed pulley onto the belt and slipping, and I couldn't understand why I was losing RPM on here and the current was going down. I thought, what the hell's going on? And it was my belt, it was slipping, so I had to clean that up and put some extra tension on it. So there's all kinds of problems happening. Yeah. So anyway, just an update, that's it. I think I'll end the stream now. I've been going for 24 minutes apparently, according to this. So I'm a bit slow at the moment because I'm still recovering from that cold. I've been really lousy with it. It's been a really nasty virus, and it's kind of, yeah, I'm just not sleeping properly. So it's probably going to be a few days before I get these coils wound and sorted out, because I've got to iron 4 of them. You see, there's 2 in there. There's 1, 2, 3, oops, 4. There's actually 4. Oh, look, my LEDs come on again. Ah, my current. Yeah, my yellow LED is very, very, very. It's glitching. You can see it flickering. I think it's been overdriven. That's probably why. Oh, look, it's gone out again. Yeah, I think there's a partial short in there. Oh, don't know if I can see it. What the hell's going on with that yellow LED? Oh, it's come back on again. Look. Yeah, there's something weird going on with that LED. Ouch, that is hot. That triac is bloody hot. I'm going to have to end the stream because I need to go and put a heatsink on it. It's not too hot. I mean, it's not. If it was too hot, it'll explode, wouldn't it? But I don't like things getting warm. I mean, that's just power from the generator that's heating it up. That's all. So it never got hot before because I wasn't producing enough current. So it's working better now because, as I said, they're rated at 800 milliamps, but it's only passing something probably around 200 milliamps or so. But yeah, it's a bit noisier than it used to be. That's because this freaking motor, the bearings going on it. The motor, the bearings going on it, and it's vibrating quite badly. And it gets quite hot as well. I lubricated the bearings, but they just get hot. It's getting quite warm, is this motor, and it's drying the bearings out. That's the problem with it. So I need to probably get a better motor for that. This really, LED keeps coming on and going out. It's weird. It's got a mind of its own. Anyway, that's it.